Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue. Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue.
Flex. Buckle up and join the best. Let's see, relieve your stress. So yes, let the music soothe your soul and keep it going just to refresh. Buckle and enjoy the ride from 2 to the half of the
Detailed news, unparalleled coverage. City News on 97.3 FM.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
City News.
97.3 Citi FM. This is Eyewitness News from number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka here in Accra. With me, Ni Larte. Tonight, I'm here with
Safo.
In the next 90 minutes, the reintroduction of the collection of road tolls appears to be coming with an increase in the fees to be charged, but are stakeholders okay with the new proposals tabled by the Ministry of Finance? Still on Eyewitness News, abrogate National Cathedral project and dissolve Board of National Cathedral Secretariat, the fresh demands by Northern lawmaker Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa. Tonight, we interrogate his issues for you. Also, individual bondholders give government a 48-hour ultimatum to pay their matured bonds or face their wrath. Tonight, we'll interrogate their issues as well. Stay with 97.3 Citi FM for more on these and other stories on Eyewitness News in Business.
Ghana Revenue Authority sets December 2024 deadline for businesses to migrate to EVAT system.
That will be in 15 minutes with Michael Obudu for the top stories in the world of business. Eyewitness News is live across the country on Ajempa 100.7 FM in Takwa, Sky Power 93.5 FM in Takrade, and Beach 105.5 FM in Takrade, all in the Western region. If you are listening to us in the Bono region, your dial is Greener FM 95.9 in Sunyani, Focus 94.3 FM in Kumasi, and Orange 107.9 FM also in Kumasi, both in the Ashanti region. If you are listening to us in the Volta region, you are logged on. Revival 99.3 FM in Tajehu, VOV Radio 95.7 in Hohoi, Radio Bimbela 91.9 FM in the northern region, Quality 88.7 FM in Garu in the Upper East region, and Tunson 97.3 FM in Wa, as well as Drapa 96.1 FM in the Upper West region. The show is also live on Facebook on 97.3 Citi FM and also on YouTube on CityTube. Eyewitness News is interactive. Tell us what you make of the story. Share your views and thoughts about WhatsApp on 0549 986 996, 0549 986 996. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. My name is Ni Larte here with Safo, who brings us our first story.
The Ministry of Finance has assured that domestic investors who did not tender their bills for new ones under government's domestic debt exchange should expect to receive their matured coupons in 48 hours. According to the ministry, the payment processes commenced yesterday. Government failed to honor bonds which have matured since February 6, 2023, with explanation that it needed some time to sort out administrative issues. Meanwhile, the coalition of individual bondholders groups has also given government a 48-hour ultimatum to honor its word to pay all matured principal and outstanding coupons due on the existing bonds issued by the government of Ghana. They are calling on the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Ghana Stock Exchange to enforce the rules of full disclosure required by all issuers, including the government of Ghana, to ensure payments are made.
So that's from the camp of the individual bondholders. The Pensioner Bondholders Forum is also part of this particular issue, and we've been joined by its convener, Dr. Edu Anani Enchi. Good evening to you, Doc, and thank you for joining us on Eyewitness News.
And thank you too for inviting me.
Well, yesterday we did speak to you, and in fact, you were expecting that your payment will be made. That did not happen today. It's past 5 p.m. You have still not received your matured investment. What really is accounting for this development? Have you been able to pick up anything between yesterday and now?
No, we haven't. When the issuer hasn't issued any statement, it is difficult for you to interpret what is happening. But I still believe that the government is still working to pay. And I'm saying so because, the treasury bill market is being used by government now. And if government was hard pressed, it would have borrowed money from the treasury bill market to pay. And when government is even not accepting or it means government has some provision made to pay the maturing or the matured bond. And so we hope that it gets some administrative processes that hasn't gone through.
Okay.
But government should have said something so that we don't have to be guessing what is happening.
You expect government to say something, but that is not happening, and then you are banking your hopes on the fact that government will deliver on its promise. But for how long will you be hoping?
Well, I have said, and I always say that this market, it depends on information. Information flow is key to the market, and government should know that it's also playing on the financial market. It's what government is doing is no different from what corporates are supposed to be doing. The information should flow. If you are unable to pay, make a statement, tell your investors as a result of ABCD, I'm having some challenges, so don't expect the payment to come today. Maybe in about 2 or 3 days, it will hit your account. Then people are calm. So government should learn to do that. This is the second time. The first time, that was not done. And we had cause to complain to the minister that you shouldn't be doing that. Do it the way that the market expects you to do. So we're thinking the second time around, this is not happening. But that's happening. We don't know why that is still happening. So I believe government would be taking a cue from this and ensure that the information flow is there for the market. So that's why I think that it may be that they are preparing to pay, they haven't told us. But I believe once you owe and you are supposed to pay, you will be preparing to pay, except that maybe your processes hasn't gone through it. So we think that if they get about 3 more days, which is today, tomorrow, and Thursday, whatever administrative processes that are left to be completed would be completed. Because even if you give instruction to your agents today, by Thursday, the instruction would have been carried out, and people would have gotten their money.
Well, I have before me a statement you issued a while ago, and I want to take you to point 6 of that statement. It says that the market has lost a great deal of public confidence, and the problem is getting worse as a result of the delay in the payment of coupons and principals relating to bonds which were not tendered in under the domestic debt exchange program. Well, this loss of public confidence in the financial sector that we are talking about, should we be worried as a nation, especially because of the kind of difficulties we are having in terms of our finances and fiscals?
You see, financial markets have only one asset that matters, one asset that matters, and that is public confidence. If people do not have confidence in the financial market, nobody will put his money in the financial market. You can't put your money with a bank where you don't believe the next morning you wake up and you go to the bank, you get your money back. That is the confidence, the public confidence. And what has happened has eroded the public confidence in the financial market. We started with the banking crisis. That started eroding the confidence that we have in the market. And then people thought that, as for government, we will still trust government to do things. People have now suffered also at government. So that is a serious blow to public confidence. And we must all work to restore public confidence. Without that public confidence, there is no financial market. Nobody. Why would you go and put your money with somebody, then you go home and you have been thinking over it overnight? This man, my money, can I get it? Can I get it? Why would you do that? That public confidence. So it is key. So if it has gotten that heavy blow and has gone down, we must do all that we can to restore that public confidence. And if you are going to restore public confidence, that is not how to restore it. Still unable to do what you must do, which would help us restore the confidence, then you are worsening the problem that we are trying to solve. Because people don't have confidence. And now the little promise that you also made that I will honor today or tomorrow, it gets there and you are not able to honor. You don't tell anybody why you are not being able to honor. And then you want people to be just guessing what is happening. You are eroding the little that is left of public confidence in the market. And that is not right. We shouldn't do that to destroy this financial market.
But Dr. Eduanani Enchi, are you aware that the Ministry of Finance has said that payment of these matured bonds we are talking about will be honored on Thursday?
They have said so. I haven't heard it.
Well, there's a statement to that effect from the ministry.
Oh, ministry has issued a statement.
Yes, I can read excerpts to you.
After they have, you see, that is a challenge I have. And I have been saying this all over the place, that people should know how to operate in this financial market. When you are unable to pay, you must not let the time come. Even if Monday morning we have issued a statement that, look, you are expecting payment on this Monday. However, as a result of ABC, we will not be able to make it. So give us 1 or 2 days. You don't have to sit down, not telling anybody, giving no information to the market, and you want creditors to rise up and ask you questions before you give answers. That is not how we run financial markets.
Well, so the statement says that holders of these bonds should therefore expect to receive their payment within the next 48 hours. The statement was issued today, so that takes us to Thursday. And then payment dates for subsequent maturities will be communicated in due course as processing continues. And so that's the statement from the Ministry of Finance.
And that is why I'm saying this statement should have come. I don't understand how people don't know how we must operate in financial market. How we must operate in financial market. We are not talking about any other market. Financial market. And people at the ministry also know how financial markets behave. You must supply the information. This information shouldn't be coming today after you have failed. Before you issue the statement, you must issue the statement before so that you haven't failed. If you had issued this statement before the end of the promise day, everybody will accept it that, well, as a result of A, B, and C, let's wait for 2 days. You wait for the problem to come before you bring a statement. That is not how we manage issues in the financial market.
Well, interesting how you also give government a 48-hour ultimatum, and that you say that you advise yourself if government fails to honor its obligations on Thursday. What would that advice be?
Well, we know there are so many things we can do, but I keep on saying that I don't think government would let that happen. But if it happens that we have to take another step towards getting government to pay, we will take. People have come to associate us with picketing, but I don't think we will always be going to picket, which has its own problems, even on the health of the elderly. And then the image that is created for also for Ghana, it's not a good thing. We didn't want to be pushed to that level to do the picketing.
So you're changing your strategy options this time around?
It's not changing. We have other options that we can use. Like going to Parliament. You know, when Parliament saw us picketing. They made a statement in Parliament the next day of our picketing when Parliament resumed. They made a statement and said they could not allow our elderly people to be picketing and looking on concern. And that's why they summoned the minister to appear before Parliament. We can go back to Parliament and say what the minister promised even before this August House is not doing it. But I'm saying I don't think the government would allow this thing to happen. I am not sure. I don't believe the government will allow that thing to happen. I am only saying that I believe maybe some administrative matters were not started early, and that's why the delay has happened. I have been in this market as a regulator, and I know how things work. If you have to give your agent some instructions to pay A, B, C, D, once the agent hasn't gotten that instruction, he's not going to pay until you instruct. So if your instruction delays, definitely the agent will, the payment will delay. These are some of the administrative things that maybe I am thinking might have happened, and because of that, these things are delayed. But not that government will not be able to pay to force creditors to do some of these things that people are hoping, are thinking if it doesn't work, we are going to do. I don't believe we will get that.
Well, are you also concerned about the inaction or silence of regulators such as the Securities and Exchange Commission and also other players in the sector due to the delay in the payment of your bonds?
I'm not concerned about the regulators as at now. And the challenge that we have is not a regulatory challenge. The issuer must pay us, and the issuer only which will have to pay us. We will have another day to talk about regulations. We'll have another day to talk about all the things that regulators should have done to ensure that this DDAP had gone on well. We could have time to talk about that. And I'm going to talk about that. But not now. Now the point is that we need our money. And it's not the regulators who are going to get us our money. So I won't bring in the regulators now. But at the opportune time, we will discuss the role of regulators, the role that they play or did not play in all these DDAP matters.
All right, thank you. That's Dr. Edu Anani Enchi, convener of the Pensioner Bondholders Forum there. This is still Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. If you do stay with us, we have more reactions for you on this particular development because you'll be hearing from convener of the Individual Bondholders Forum.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Yo, bro, I beg, make you give me correct shock absorber. Or make a do video concept, then take the Gaussian P for the engine show you.
Hey, yawa, every morning you the tear calls, they browse, actually, something they.
Hey, Tago, the way town make hot, and Robert so and if you are no po, if it be you where you get Vodafone 1 Ghana promo them out, 20 minutes talk time to call all networks, where you start get data and 1 gig from 5 a.m. to 11:59 a.m. Bang! Anka, you go do pass me safe, Anka. You dial *530#. Make we enjoy. You go fit subscribe as many times as you want.
Yes, plantain.
Yo, sweet Ama, take this by Vodafone 1 Ghana bundle. Moku vibe plus video calls and things. You catch the vibe. Early morning, 5 a.m. sharp.
Vodafone, further together.
You know your papa see that? And it's rickety car. Hey, papa! Bobo, so how your engine now? It is half man, half amazing. Thanks to cause and you can feel better energy. Can't touch this. Tell you guys, so Sancho's engine just died like that? Yes, so somebody managed to convince him that there is a better engine oil than Quartz. And he switched. Sancho Panza. Now, which engine oil can be better than Quartz?
No other, my guy. Quartz with its age-resistant technology, it keeps your engine younger for longer.
Now you know. Have you guys seen the new bottle design? It's superb. Quartz 9000 from Total Energies there improves fuel efficiency.
Why do you think Mr. Mane and Logoso have taken the Quartz Nation movement World Cup like that?
Sorry.
Chairman Omani.
Quartz. Keep your engine younger for longer.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Still Eyewitness News on Citi 97.3 FM. My name is Larte here with Safo. Let me now bring in some of your messages. And Hamza in Efie Kuma says that I really side with the ultimatum by the individual bondholders. The best language this government understands is demonstration against them. Otherwise, they will be adamant in paying their matured bonds. Fiamnogo in Abo also says that, so the Ministry of Finance doesn't want to pay the bondholders. Please, Finance Minister, please pay the matured bonds now. Selom says that the Finance Ministry is full of ex-investment bankers and capital markets experts who should know better about managing public confidence. The ministry is playing with the market like novices. I'm genuinely surprised. This one says that let's hope that the monies will be paid as promised by the Finance Minister. This one came in from Moses Yandam from Timpani. You can do so also. Send in your messages via WhatsApp 0549986996 0549986996. Alternatively, you can go onto Facebook, Citi 97.3 FM, and also on YouTube on CityTube. You leave your comments there in the comments section, and then we will read them out to the rest of the world. Let's continue with our stories that has to do with the non-payment of the matured bonds by the government, and then now bring in Martin Pebu, convener of the Individual Bondholders Association of Ghana. Good evening to you, Mr. Pebu, and thank you for joining us on Eyewitness News. Well, the government says that it will finally pay your matured investment come Thursday. How do you react to the statement that is just coming in from the Ministry of Finance?
Oh, wow. My brother, what's your name?
I'm Mr. Pebu. I'm Larte.
Larte. I can't make much of it. I can't trust until I see the payment. Because of the way Mr. Furiata has behaved in the past. You remember me? I think you were the one who interviewed me. The last time they promised 13th. I said, no, I don't believe government will pay on the 13th. And you see, it has come to pass. So we'll wait. If they pay on Thursday, then we'll believe. Yes, because this the way Furiata and President Kufuor have sunk this country that low. Whilst we are suffering, we are gnashing our teeth. We can't pay our school fees. We can't buy food. We can't buy fuel. We can't do other things that we need to do. They have become very rich, very, very, very rich through data bank with this very bond, because data bank and commission, it's such despicable conflict of interest. You hear what the 98 MP said, and the Apia Kubi, Buama, and the rest, when they did their press conference in Parliament. They said they are constrained to defend this despicable conflict of interest by Ofuriata and President Kufuor. Can you imagine? We are suffering, and they have become very rich. They say, we'll pay you today. Today can Lala, we are not ready. We'll pay tomorrow. Dilly-dally. Oh, come on.
So are you also giving government a 48-hour ultimatum, or you insisting that till the money hits your account, you are not going to take government's word for it?
Yes, we can't take government's word for it. So we stated, and it's also true, we stated in our press statement that we are giving government 48-hour ultimatum to pay. Otherwise, then we'll escalate it to the other forms, the picketing, demonstrations, asking Ghanaians to join, do a lot of noise, because if we don't, that's the only language President Kufuor understands. Because look, don't forget, when you are analyzing this problem, you don't analyze the way President Kufuor is not enjoying life. It's now enjoying life. It's now enjoying life through this Bonsi and Ofuriata. You will never understand it. Because, they say, the money sometimes makes people insensitive to the plight of others. And they've seen real money, they are chopping. So they don't really care much about that. So we have to make noise, shout to the highest heaven, shout to the rooftops, maybe, before we can get their attention.
But you met the finance minister in the past, and then he gave you all these assurances. Today, could it be that government is still struggling with its fiscals? That's why it's unable to pay you your matured investments.
No, I don't see the struggling. It's just deliberate refusal to pay. I don't think, because if it comes to fiscals, but the World Bank warned us at the end of 2019 when they did our debt sustainability analysis and all those, they reviewed our economy. They warned us, that World Bank IMF report, if you Google it, February 2020, that was when it came out, just about a few weeks before COVID, where they said, hey, Ghana, where we're headed, where we had a high risk of debt distress, and that we needed to diversify the economy. The very thing Akufo-Addo said, that he would change the structure of the economy within 18 months upon taking office. Yes, that World Bank report, they talked about it, that we should diversify our exports, that we should stop the borrowing. Yes, they said it, that we needed to handle it, bring it down firmly. After they warned us, Akufo-Addo refused. He insisted on bathing in the sky. Yes, Adu Shoeboy bathing in the sky, in the private jet. We talked, he would not listen. We talked, he would not listen. Then COVID came. After COVID, the World Bank brought the debt suspension initiative. We refused to go. Akufo-Addo said he was not interested. Why? Because if we had subscribed to that program, they would have restricted us from borrowing anymore. And that would have meant that Data Bank would not make more money for Akufo-Addo and President Kenneth Furiata. So he refused. He refused and went on, plunged head deep and continued borrowing. And now you see we are in a deep crater. This president, oh, come on, he's disrespected us. He's disrespected us to unimaginable proportions. I don't know where the men are in Ghana, and we are just complaining privately, I don't know what the men in Ghana are doing. You can't come out and voice out this despicable conflict of interest that has made the Akufo-Addo and Kenneth Furiata rich. We are just so quiet.
Well, Mr. Kpebu, the language in this whole conundrum actually has been demonstrations and, protests. And it appears these have not yielded the results you are looking for. I'm asking this question because I remember you said you were going to hold a demonstration to press on government to ensure that it delivers on its promise. But you never did that. What happened?
Yeah, so there were indications that they were going to pay. So that's why we stopped because of that promise. And then they failed. Then February 27th, finally they put their promise into writing. And then come March 13th, when they were supposed to pay, they failed again. So this time, the 48 hours, we really mean it. We mean it. We will not allow President Akufo-Addo and Furiata to continue to enjoy the data bank money which they made from the bonds whilst we suffer like this. No.
So the next course of action is going to be?
Yeah, when we meet, we'll escalate it to the picketing, demonstrations, etc. Yeah.
Okay, but on a lighter note, today a lot of Ghanaians were awarded by the president. I do not know if you also received an award because you have been fighting really hard in the country.
President Akufo-Addo to give me an award. Okay. I'm sure about that he will not be happy with it that maybe he thought we'll just talk about the money they've made from data bank for 2 weeks, but he's mistaken. I'm going to continue talking about this till I die. So Akufo-Addo be prepared. He will see his real size. This man deceived us. We came and we voted for him. We thought Mama was evil and that he is the honest person. Yeah, Akufo-Addo is insulted every president that came before him. Every president that came before Akufo-Addo, he says they are not good people, they are corrupt. He's the only honest person. It turned out that, his case will be worse. The jury is out there. Crazy. So let's come. Look, I think people of Ghana should get up. We are suffering. This suffering in your own corner and not willing to make any public show of it. I'm not willing to say it, voice it publicly. It's not good. We think we should be brave. I don't know why we are so docile and allowing people to treat us like that. How? He has become very rich and you are watching him. You're watching him. We can't come out and demonstrate. We do one continuous demonstration for 1 week. He will flee without taking a standard.
All right, Council, thank you so much. Definitely on Thursday, we'll come back to you if government pays or does not pay your matured investment. But that's Martin Pebu, convener of the Individual Bondholders Association of Ghana. This is still Eyewitness News on Citi 97.3 FM. What more do we have?
President Akufo-Addo has reiterated his indifference to calls for the amendment of the 1992 Constitution. There have been agitations in recent times, particularly from civil society organizations, for an amendment of the Constitution which has been in force for 30 years. But speaking on behalf of the President at the 2023 edition of the Gimpa Law Conference, Deputy Attorney General Alfred Tuah-Yeboah touted the achievements of the Constitution, stating that it has contributed to the stability the country enjoys.
Our Constitution is indeed a living organism which is capable of growth, and grow it must. In the recent past, there have been several calls for the wholesale amendment of our 1992 Constitution from different quarters. It is on record that I am in principle against such wholesale amendments of our Constitution. But that is not in any way a suggestion that our Constitution is perfect. It is perfectly imperfect. And it is through conferences like this that legal and political scholars and other academics and professionals can deliberate on the future of our Constitution and come out with practical proposals. The 1992 Constitution was intended to be enduring and foundational. It was not, however, meant to be immutable. Fellow Ghanaians, in conclusion, my government is committed in ensuring that the value of the peace and stability we have enjoyed in the past 3 decades as a result of the operation of the Constitution is projected in every discourse, policy, and development projects. Because we understand the role of economic growth in our country's democratic progress. Se oman ibeye ya na efriye nara, enti emoye breye ebeye ya efriye nara.
Alfred Tuah-Yeboah is Deputy Attorney General. Meanwhile, Chairperson of the National Commission on Civic Education, Kathleen Addy, says the country risks being disappointed if it bangs its hopes on constitutional amendments to solve challenges confronting it.
Our country's economic performance for the last 30 years under democratic rule is vastly superior to the 30 years of largely military rule which preceded it. This is indisputable. That said, it is also indisputable that we live in a time of restlessness and discontent, with a unanimous clamor for constitutional amendments that will ostensibly resolve all our problems. So by all means, let us amend the Constitution if we must. However, let us also make sure that the amendments actually cure the ills we seek to eradicate. We are all keenly aware that many of the problems plaguing our society will not be resolved by constitutional amendments. So, for example, what sorts of constitutional reforms, beyond the plethora of existing laws, will make us more law-abiding citizens? Which constitutional reforms will ensure that people who are already paid to deliver government services do not extort arbitrary fees before providing those services to citizens? Which constitutional reforms will fill our hearts with true humility and make us cherish fearless honesty as prescribed in our national anthem? Truth is, we could set ourselves up for great disappointment if we proceed as if the constitutional reforms will resolve all the pertinent challenges we face as a people.
Kathleen Addy is the chairperson of the National Commission on Civic Education.
This is still Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM, coming to you live from our studios at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka here in Accra. Still to come, there is this proposal by the Finance Ministry to increase road tolls in the country following government's decision to reintroduce the collection of road tolls. We'll be telling you more about that right after this.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Oh, Jack, now, where are you in a hurry to?
Child, I'm going to Imperial to do my car insurance.
What's happening there? Because Ifo and Yaba also told me they're going there this morning for their car insurance.
Mansa, you haven't heard. No, the Imperial is the name in insurance in Ghana here.
Really?
Share. Imperial General is saying, come insure your vehicle with them at any of their branches or agents or even online from now till the end of March 2023 and get yourself handsome rewards, fuel coupons, special souvenirs, gift vouchers, and many, many more. And here's the catch. During this reward period, you will also get a free 1-year life insurance cover in addition to your motor insurance cover.
What the wow! So does it include with the taxi drivers and the e-taxis?
Hey, everybody qualifies. So just come insure your car and you are done. Call 0302 788 955 for further details. T's and C's apply. Imperial General Assurance. Solid protection.
Isn't life wonderful when everything worth doing is scheduled? Hitting the stop button on your alarm just in time for your morning jog. That happy moment listening to your baby's heartbeat at the doctor's office. Or an arranged virtual meeting with that big client.
Buy airtime ahead of time with scheduled airtime service on MTN Momo. You can schedule your airtime purchase of any amount daily, weekly, or monthly by dialing *170# option 3 and follow the *170*311# for a superb airtime purchase experience. You enjoy 100% bonus airtime anytime you recharge yourself with MTN Momo. Keep on talking with that 100% feeling. So, what are we doing today?
MTN.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back to Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. So last November, the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta was in Parliament to present the 2023 budget, and in that presentation, he announced the reinstatement of the collection of road tolls as one of the revenue-generating plans by the government. So in effect, this year, the government will resume the collection of road tolls on some selected roads in the country. You remember that the Finance Minister had admitted that the suspension of the road tolls collection had actually hampered the government's revenue generation. So today, the Ministry of Finance actually released a statement, and in that statement, it announced the revision of the schedules of the fees and charges, which will mean that steps are being taken to identify some roads and highways in the country, and that will be affected by the reintroduction of the tolls, pending, the determination of the foundation rate by the Ministry of Roads and Highways. So, my colleague in the City Newsroom, Philip Larte, joins me in studio with a copy of that statement. First thing, Philip, we have seen an average increase in the road tolls that will be charged if this particular, amendment finally goes through.
Yes, and in the statement, some of the increment is 50%, others 100%. Let's start from motorbikes, which approved fees and charges is 10 pesos, but is moving to 50 pesos. That is the proposed fees and charges. For cars, saloon vehicles, 50 pesos. That is the approved fees, but it's moving to 1 Ghana cedis. Pickups, 4x4 vehicles, 1 Ghana cedi going to 1 Ghana cedi 50 pesos. Light buses, 1 Ghana cedi going to 1 Ghana cedi 50 pesos. Mommy wagon, that is a bone shaker, from 1 Ghana cedi to 1 Ghana cedi 50 pesos. Also heavy buses from 1 Ghana cedi 50 pesos to 2 cedis. Light goods trucks, that is double axle, that is 2 axle, is from 1 Ghana cedi 50 pesos to 2 Ghana cedis. Medium goods trucks, 3 axle, is moving from 2 Ghana cedis to 3 Ghana cedis. Heavy goods trucks, 4 axles, moving from 2 Ghana cedis to 3 Ghana cedis. Heavy goods trucks, that is 5 or more axles, moving from 2.5, that is 2 Ghana cedis 50 pesos, to 3 Ghana cedis 50 pesos. Agriculture tractors, moving from 50 pesos to 1 Ghana cedis, and also agriculture tractor with trailer moving from 50 pesos to 1 Ghana cedi. So this is the proposed fees and charges from the Finance Ministry, from the approved fees and charges.
So, in the simplest of languages, the increase, you will realize that some have been increased by 50 pesos, others by 1 Ghana cedis.
Yes. Some by 50 pesos, others by 1 Ghana cedi. And initially, I stated some by 50%, others by 10%. So the average percentage increase is 88.05%. And that is what is coming from the Finance Ministry. And mind you, the cessation of road collection was ceased on November 21, 2021, November 2021, rather, as part of the policy measures announced by government in the 2022 budget, a move that displays several road toll collectors. So this is the charges coming from the Finance Ministry.
But let me quickly add that these are recommended rates pending the input of the Ministry of Roads and Highways.
Exactly.
All right, thank you. That's Philip Larte with a copy of that statement from the Ministry of Finance as far as the proposed rate for the collection of road tolls is concerned. Well, let's stay with this particular issue and bring in Gavins Kwame Agboja. He is Minority Chief Whip and also a ranking member on the Roads and Transport Committee of Parliament. Good evening to you, Honorable, and thank you for joining us.
Good evening, and good evening to you, to my very good friend Richard, on the listeners.
All right. Well, Honorable, I'm just wondering, since you were elevated to Minority Chief Whip, how come you are still a ranking member on the Roads and Transport Committee of Parliament?
Thank you very much. Yes, since we, the minority did a change to the front bench, there is obviously, I mean, the three of us were ranking members of various committees. There would be the need for us to do a reshuffle of the committees and then get people to replace us. We haven't done that comprehensively yet, simply because what we did in the short term was to replace ourselves on the critical committees that take decisions for the House. For instance, the Appointment Committee, the House Committee, the Business Committee. So we just replaced those of our colleagues who were on the front bench. So there will be a major reshuffle of the committee together with our colleagues from the majority side. You are aware that they have done appointment of ministers. Some of those people who have been appointed are serving on certain committees that ought to be changed. So we are expected to do a reshuffle of the committees on both majority and minority side. And when that is done, I will surely not be the ranking on roads and transport, and on our two will not be ranking on finance.
So until that happens, you'll be enjoying the two positions.
Well, it's not unusual in Parliament. The majority leader is leader of government business, majority leader, and the Minister of Parliamentary Affairs. It's not. There's nothing about it. It's just work we do. It's not. I'm not sure if there's anything to enjoy, but rather you have a responsibility to make sure that issues relative to where you are attached to are dealt with appropriately.
Right.
So surely, I mean, we have capable people. My deputy is capable of taking over seamlessly. So we don't have issues at all. But as you know, it is not a decision I can take as a whip. You need to go to committee of selection, of which the speaker is the chairman. And then that report from the committee of selection comes to the plenary to be adopted. So you don't appoint people and then it goes, it takes effect. The whole entire house needs to take a decision. Richard knows much more about this. And so it's not an issue at all. It will be done eventually.
That's very well understood. Let's now talk about the issue at hand. The government, through the Ministry of Finance today, proposed the collection of road tolls, the charges actually. And we are bringing you in because you had been very vocal about the reintroduction of the collection of road tolls as a minority in Parliament. Today or last year, the Finance Minister announced the reinstatement. But today, as we are learning the increments of the tolls, what really will you say about this particular increment that the Finance Ministry is proposing?
Well, I think first of all, as a country, we all need to be asking ourselves whether when we elect people, whether members of Parliament or the executive into office, is it the case that they can do or take any decision irrespective of if it's obviously reckless. When the proposal came for the road tolls to be abolished, we obviously spoke against it, clearly saying that there's no justification. The Minister of Finance and the Road Ministry were of the view that in their words, we only get a paltry 72 million Ghana cedi annually out of that. And then the Finance Minister also said clearly that one of the reasons he's abolishing it is because he wanted to control pollution, because vehicles cause pollution. He also said that the only way he would bring the toll back is if we are able to build a new PPP road project, new project. None of the things are applied currently. As we speak, there is no PPP project that is currently ongoing, nearing completion. In fact, there's none going on, which we are going to toll. So I believe what he's proposing is to toll the existing roads as we find them. But the most important thing is this. That letter you're referring to is to the road ministry. I'm not even sure why the finance minister is even hazarding the mentioning of figures here. It is upon the road ministry to look at the situation and even advise on which roads we can toll and what the classification of the vehicles, which vehicles ought to be put in the particular category to attract a certain toll, as we call it. We haven't even gotten there, so I'm not sure why the finance ministry is pretending to have the mandate to determine what we charge. But for us in the minority, the critical thing is this. We know the finance minister consistently, under the Capping and Realignment Act, take money from Ghanaians, for instance, for roadworks, and give only a fraction of that money to the road ministry for roadworks. If you read Appendix, I think B and C of the 2023 budget, you will notice that the finance minister is projecting that the Ghanaians will pay about 2.4 billion Ghana cedi into the road fund in 2023. If you go to Appendix C, 3C, you will see that he is only going to spend 1 billion out of the 1.4 billion on road-related work. So you take money, 2.4 billion from Ghanaians to do road work, but you actually will give them only 1 billion. The only way the minority side would be interested in this discussion at all is to get an assurance that the road fund will be totally decapped, so that the numerous contractors who have worked and whose certificates are lying in the ministry and other agencies would have the ability to get their money paid to them so that they can go back to site and fix you a nice road and employ people. We are not going to be able to support government to bring their toll back if it is only going to give you 2.4 billion and then you pay 1 billion to for road work and use another 1.1 billion to the road work and then 1.4 billion maybe to pay for Cathedral and other things. We shall not be part of this. So we make that one clear. So there's no blanket check for the finance minister to reintroduce road tolls. He would need to walk a very tight rope in Parliament to get the support of the minority to reintroduce
is your
the road
point to suggest that until the road fund is capped, this particular reintroduction of the road tolls and its corresponding increments will mean nothing? Is that the point?
No, we can't because we have constantly getting contractors. In fact, let me give you a sad story. I'm in touch with a 77-year-old woman who is part of SMC, small medium contractors, whose job it is to just weed the side of roads in communities. She's owed just about 25,000 cedis or something like that. And guess what? She's got a kidney problem. She even needs this money to go to hospital. Just 25,000 cedis. Somebody says 72 million is a paltry money, so let's cancel it. And I'm saying that if we bring the toll back, the act ought to be changed, that money is protected for use on only road-related expenditure, not on a government-wide expenditure where we'll find monies from road funding like Cathedral, funding like other government expenditure. We can't be a responsible opposition if that is what we are supporting. We can't be part of it.
But Honorable, have you seen the proposed rate? If you have, do you really think that they are justified, given the reasons for the reintroduction of the tools?
That is what I'm saying, that I'm not even sure why the finance minister is hazarding proposal of any fees at all. I believe the road ministry, after consultation, it might end up that some of the charges might even be higher than what he's proposing. Some might have to be lowered. But bottom line, there will have to be fairness and assurance to the public that whatever they pay will be used to do the things that matter to the people of this country. So, for instance, I've seen 4x4 vehicles, 1 cedi 50 pesos. The question you ask is, if that same vehicle was paying 1 cedi in the past, is it the case that you suspended the toll because you wanted to charge 50 pesos? That would have been quite a reckless decision. So let the finance ministry just make the decision that you want to reintroduce the road toll. Stay back, ask those who matter, the road ministry, to do everything. Let's do the reclassification of vehicles into the various categories, and with the consultation with the public and other stakeholders, come up with rates that are fair, that can be collected, and that, when the money is collected, can be applied to activities on road to make our roads safer and better in communities around you and I.
Well, maybe educate us at this point. If the government says that the collection of road tolls is going to happen on selected roads, what really does it mean, if you're able to educate us on this?
Well, initially, they said on PPP roads. As you and I know, and Richard knows, there are no PPP roads project going on now. In fact, the PPP roads they've always mentioned in the budget are Accra Kumasi. Have you seen any contractor working on Accra Kumasi road? Accra Cape Coast. Have you seen any contractor working on Accra Cape Coast road? So it is just phantom. It doesn't exist. Tamamoto Way project, as you know, I've been having a running battle with the ministry, saying that so-called contract with Motor Angel is not fit for purpose. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, that contract is dead more than 2 years ago. So the Accra Tamamoto also doesn't have any valid contract on that project. So we do not have any PPP project. So they will have to reclassify existing roads as we have it to charge tolls on. So whenever they bring the list of those roads, you and I will have that discussion, and then we take it from there. I sincerely believe Ghanaian motorists are not fundamentally against payment of road tolls. Their concern has always been that they are paying road tolls, and the roads on which they drive are in deplorable state. They want accountability of what they pay. Once we can prove to them that we collected your 2.4 billion Ghana cedi, and we applied 2.4 billion Ghana cedi to this number of roads of which you can clearly see improvement, Ghanaians will be satisfied with that. That is what has always been their concern. No one said cease the collection of road tolls. So we are waiting for government to identify those roads, and then we'll have the discussion.
And so for you, the cessation of the collection of road toll was not worth it at all?
It was totally a propaganda, because they said when they wanted to do that and when they have e-levy, there will not be any need for it. Guess what? We are paying the e-levy, and they are back here again telling us they want to charge road toll. It tells you that our position has always been right. I take no pride in saying we told you so, because I know that for the period that the road toll ceased, we could have gotten a couple of millions to pay contractors, very genuine, patriotic Ghanaian or businessmen who have worked, borrowing money from the banks, and whose certificates are unpaid. That is why they are losing their houses. They are unable to go to the hospital and treat the various ailments they have as individuals, and it's very sad. And I think that is why I have a very serious problem with this finance minister. He's taking very reckless decisions that somebody should have been telling him, this is not what the Ghanaian public expect you to do simply because you are in government. You are supposed to use power very, very, in a very nice way, not in a very capricious way as he's been doing.
We appreciate your thoughts this evening. That's Gavins Kwame Agboja, Minority Chief Whip and Ranking Member on the Rules and Transport Committee of Parliament.
The Member of Parliament for North Tongue, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, is demanding the termination of the contract for the construction of the National Cathedral. The MP says the one-year suspension of the project is incurring much cost to the taxpayer. Speaking to journalists, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa says the over $1 billion project would not materialize, hence the need for the government to abrogate the project and dissolve the Board of Trustees.
This project is in excess of $1 billion. and we have not even valued the land yet. That is why we are saying that it is time, on the occasion of the first anniversary of the project being abandoned, it is time for President Akufo-Addo and the Board of Trustees to cut their losses. They should abrogate this contract and they should close shop, ask these contractors to go home, particularly at this time. Here we are. We cannot meet obligations that we owe even our creditors. We have defaulted on our loans. We have been declared bankrupt. We have been declared insolvent. Here we are as a country for the first time in our history.
Member of Parliament for North Tong, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, now the host of Eyewitness News on Citi FM and face-to-face on Citi TV, Umaru Sanda Amadu was today honored by the state for his role in the fight against COVID-19. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo presented the proficient broadcaster with a certificate of presidential honor for distinguished service at a ceremony held at the Accra International Conference Center. Excerpts of inscriptions on the certificate read, "In recognition of your remarkable technical administrative support to the Ghana COVID-19 Private Sector Fund in the construction of Ghana's foremost infectious disease center, your contribution will always be remembered." The National Honors and Awards 2023 also saw thousands of other Ghanaians receiving various awards, including the Order of the Volta. Umar Sanda, who's also the host of City Newsroom on Citi TV, was recognized by the state for his role as a member of the technical team that helped in the construction of the Infectious Disease Center at the Ga East Hospital. He was the first journalist to report from a COVID-19 treatment center at the Ga East Hospital, where the Infectious Disease Center was later constructed. Others were also honored in different categories for their selfless service to Ghana.
News. Be there as it happens.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Time now for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News, powered by citibusinessnews.com. My name is Michael Obodu. Let's settle for the details now. The government has announced that processes to settle payments on outstanding bonds have begun following a press release issued by the Ministry of Finance on February 27, 2023. According to a statement from the Ministry of Finance, the initial instruction included coupon and principal payments on bonds that matured on February 6th and February 13th, 2023. Bondholders should expect to receive their payments within the next 48 hours. The ministry further assured stakeholders that payment dates for subsequent maturities will be communicated as processing continues. The government also expressed gratitude to all stakeholders for their forbearance during the domestic debt exchange program and subsequent administrative processes. This announcement brings some relief to bondholders who have been eagerly awaiting the settlement of their outstanding payments, as some had earlier given government a 48-hour ultimatum to make due their payments. Now, away from that, the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, has indicated that the migration of businesses onto the electronic value-added tax (EVAT) system is scheduled to end on December 2024. The authority explains that the pilot phase, which started with 50 taxpayers across different sectors, was completed in October 2022. This comment was made by the Assistant Commissioner of VAT Administration at the authority, Philip Akwa, on the sidelines of the quarterly tax series dialogue organized by the UK-Ghana Chamber of Commerce in partnership with PwC Ghana in Accra.
Right, so we started off with a pilot, right, 50 taxpayers. Then we move on to the first phase with 600 taxpayers based on selected sectors that we've put together. So with that, all the 600 taxpayers will be onboarded by June, right, this year. And then we will roll out to additional 1,000 taxpayers. Those 1,000 taxpayers will be onboarded by the end of 2023. And then by 2024, we are looking forward to onboarding all VAT registered taxpayers in the country by the end of 2024.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Revenue Authority has also refuted claims of witch-hunting local businesses. Rather, the authority has urged entities in the country to comply with the tax laws, as non-payment of taxes remains a criminal offence.
It's not in GRA's interest to arrest taxpayers, right? But the law is clear, right? So when we carry out our mystery shopping exercises and we realize that some taxpayers are not complying with the law, we have no option but to enforce the law. So it's part of the diligence that we do to ensure that the system is used. In fact, we have taken our time. That's why we started with pilot. We didn't start with 1,000 or 2,000 taxpayers. We all started with 50 taxpayers. And just to test and make sure that the system is robust enough. And aside that, we also wanted to make sure that those that we've piloted the system to are using the system, by which reason we did the test purchases. So this is not to witch hunt anyone. It is only to the extent of making sure that we apply the law to its full extent, right? So if we onboarded you and you're supposed to issue an invoice and you do not, right, that's an infringement of the law, right? And for that matter, we have to apply the law in that respect.
That was the Assistant Commissioner of VAT Administration at the Ghana Revenue Authority, Philip Akwa. Away from that, the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana is demanding that government urgently take steps to address the issue of post-harvest losses which bedevils farmers across the country. A report by the Danish Embassy showed that the value of food losses and waste in Ghana is estimated at $1.9 billion per annum. Speaking to Citi Business News on the matter, the Executive Director of the Peasant Farmers Association, Dr. Charles Nyaba, says the situation is unacceptable.
If you take maize alone, there are instances where we lost up to 30 to 40% due to farmers' inability to properly harvest them or store them or carry them to the nearest market. When you take rice, many farmers last year have lost their rice due to bush burning because at the time of harvest, the combined harvests were not ready. You take perishable commodities like cabbage, watermelon, pepper, tomatoes. There are instances where these commodities will be ready for harvesting, and there's no ready market, so no farmer is willing to harvest them. So when you put all this together, you realize that sometimes we are not getting our priorities right. Because if you put so much investment supporting farmers with a subsidized fertilizer, with mechanization services, and at the end of the day, they have to labor. And when the produce is ready for consumption, then they lose about 40 to 50%. It's unacceptable. And these things are ongoing. And it appears we are not paying so much attention to that. It's something that we need to actually.
Dr. Charles Nyamba is the Executive Director of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana. Away from that, as part of efforts towards addressing concerns of shoppers in the country, the Consumer Protection Agency, CPA, has established a mediation and arbitration center. The CPA says the move is to save consumers from the long cases and delays while seeking redress from the law court over concerns they may have with a product or service. Speaking at the launch, Executive Director of the center, Nana Prempeh Ojeabo Eduhene, hopes to address all cases brought before his outfit within a month.
The CPA, the adding agency serving as the mouthpiece of Ghanaian consumers since 2006, received several complaints from consumers with genuine concerns and have helped through mediation in settling most of the disputes to the satisfaction of the consumer, manufacturer, or the service provider, and therefore seems it fit to add professionalism to the process. The Consumer Mediation and Arbitration Center is managed by professionals who are holding, most of them are holding executive masters in alternative dispute resolution, are members of the Ghana National Association of ADR Practitioners, in which we have our president here, and supporting staffs. Complaints can be lodged at the center physically through our OC office or through Facebook or WhatsApp or online, where we have the complaint section. When you go to our website, we have a complaint section where we can fill in and then we do the follow-up. Invitations are delivered to parties and date is scheduled for mediation process to set in. Parties after mediation sign a consent settlement, which is enforceable by any court in Ghana under the ADR Act. Mediation and arbitration takes exactly 1 month.
You heard the Executive Director of the Consumer Mediation and Arbitration Center, Nana Prempeh Ojeabo Eduhini. Meanwhile, speaking at the same event, President of the Ghana National Association of Alternative Dispute Resolution Practitioners, Daniel Owusu-Kranting, lauded the move by the Consumer Protection Agency, adding that it was crucial to protecting the relationship between consumers and businesses.
The country lacks a national policy for consumers and to address conflicts that will arise from the interaction of business and consumers. Businesses must be interested in ensuring that consumers are protected from quacks so that high reputation of business will become a differentiation factor to promote good businesses to gain increased profitability. Strong consumer protection laws promote good business. An important aspect of the relationship between business and consumers is the issue of a resolution mechanism to address conflicts that arise from the interaction between business and consumers. It has become an acceptable fact that the costs that have for a long time been the means of resolving conflicts are expensive, adversarial, time-consuming, and stressful. The United Nations Guidelines for Consumer Protection states that, and I quote, information on available redress and other dispute resolution procedures should be made available to consumers, unquote.
You hear the President of the Ghana National Association of Alternative Dispute Resolution Practitioners, Daniel Owusu-Kranting. That's all for City Business News on Eyewitness News. It was powered by your most comprehensive business website, citybusinessnews.com. My name is Michael Obodu. Thank you for listening. As always, please stay safe. Up next is Point Blank.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/City97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/City973, and Instagram at instagram.com/City973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Keys. What could be simpler than a key? Who doesn't have a key? A car key, an office key, a drawer key. But there's one key that rules them all. The house key. The key to a place we call home. The key to the home where everything comes together. The key to a home that is our own. A home where we make life happen with our families and loved ones. Adoha has been working hard for over 30 years to make home ownership within reach for many. Say yes to property with Adoha. Your dream home is one call away. Your dream home is a few clicks away. Visit our Accra project, The Place, by calling 030-2789-757.
There's something special happening at Heritage Christian College. Their bustling campus is right in the heart of Amasaman, just behind the Olympic Stadium, and it will amaze you what they are doing there. Heritage Christian College is churning out academic excellence with their comprehensive range of degrees, including Bachelor of Business Administration programs, IT, and theology. Don't forget to ask about their professional programs and short courses. What makes Heritage special? Heritage Christian College takes the academic experience further than ever with one laptop per student, flexible fee payment, entrepreneurial training with financial support, all delivered by a caring faculty working to develop your character and your intellect. Admissions are in progress, so call today on 054 7777 731 and get accepted. For more information, go to hcuc.edu.gh. Heritage Christian College, a university educating compassionate entrepreneurial leaders.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Citi FM. This is still Eyewitness News. Time now for Point Blank. And tonight on Point Blank, we take you to Parliament, where members of Parliament have been raising concerns on key aspects of the economy. But before that, let me bring you the story from WA. The family of the middle-aged man who was shot and killed by the police last Wednesday in Wa have backed down on their 24-hour ultimatum to the police. The decision follows an intervention by the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Ekufudampare, appealing to the family to remain calm to allow for thorough investigations into the killing. The family, at a press conference on Monday, threatened to take legal action should the police fail to apologize for killing and tagging Abubakar Shahid as a robber. Spokesperson for the family, Mohammed Tanim, in a City News interview said they have decided to remain calm, trusting that the investigations will exonerate their late brother. And on to Parliament, and the Member of Parliament for Bongo, Edward Bauer, has, for instance, raised eyebrows over the source of oil under the government Good for Oil policy. The lawmaker, who is also a member of the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament, bemoans that 600,000 barrels of oil reportedly brought to Ghana from Russia, and that the scheme poses a national security threat and creating discomfort for bulk oil distribution companies. The ranking member on the Health Committee of Parliament, also Kwabena Menta Akando, says the president's failure to comment on the state of the Agenda 111 projects is disappointing. Here are excerpts.
I believe that from somewhere last year up to this year, there has been some challenge in terms of our export prices of petroleum products. Indeed, prices had gone up to the level of about 23 cedis per litre for diesel and 17 cedis per litre for petrol. And that gave you clearly a figure of about 103 Ghana cedis per gallon, as compared to 2016, where a gallon was just about 14 Ghana cedis. So governments, and basically the challenge had been that our cedi was depreciating. That was a major challenge, because even though the early stages, the price of crude was also very high in the international market, that started coming down. But because our cedi was depreciating, there was a challenge in that. The first attempt by government was that, look, we will begin to start auctioning forex to BDCs at a particular rate. And so they were no longer supposed to go into the market, into the commercial banks to be able to get. So they were auctioning that. If you look at the forex requirements of the BDCs in every window, that's roughly about $200 million. And so Bank of Ghana needed to have gotten these every window. And the window is always 1st to 15th and 16th to 31st. I believe that was equally not sustainable for the Bank of Ghana because they simply did not have enough forex. Then they brought in the issue of what they call the gold for oil. What is this initiative? This initiative is that the central bank, the central bank has a particular program known as the Domestic Gold Purchase Program, where the central bank buys gold from the small scale. Initially, first, it is the PMMC, that's a Precious Minerals Marketing Company, will buy the various gold products from the small scale miners. Then the central bank then buys that from PMMC. Now, the initiative is that instead of going to look for forex to go and buy the crude, we will go and pick the crude and do a direct barter with the crude, suppliers. So, also petroleum suppliers. So we'll give you gold and you give us, oil. Now, there were some of those particular producers and suppliers who really did not have sections that dealt with gold. And so they did not know how to barter gold with that. So the Bank of Ghana and for that matter, the government then reviewed their thing and said, look, beyond just that, we will either do direct barter or we will sell the gold and the forex that will be realized in that will be used in buying the petroleum products. Questions. Government has decided, for example, that they were going to use BOST as the government agency that was going to deal with these particular BDCs. The question you need to ask yourself is that, why did government choose BOST? You know that almost all the SOEs that deal in commercial activities normally end up in getting into indebtedness. BOST has a history of that. Why did government choose BOST? We ask this question because we also have GOIL that has a BDC known as the Go Energy. They have a history and they have a track record of trading in petroleum products. Government has a substantial share in GOIL. And therefore, what then makes is that if government were to use GOIL, one, there will be transparency because GOIL is a listed company. So there are private owners within GOIL. And therefore, any shady deal will be seen. The government never used that. Two, if you look as we speak now, you recall that the Deputy Minister for Energy, Mesa, Ejapa Mesa, had indicated that the first cargo that came, they did not pay for it with gold. It was pre-financed by Bank of Ghana. Question, was this thing a loan to BOST? If it was a loan to BOST, what were the terms of the engagement? That has not been made to us. Three, you will recall that if you speak, I remember that I indicated to you that it is BOST that they are making them to do that. Indeed, if you look at the amount of petroleum products that they bring, it is not enough to take care of the window. So they do not bring enough to take care of Ghana. So what it then means is that we need to always augment that with imports from the BDCs. The imports from the BDCs will have to use a forex that is either from the commercial banks or through the auction. Meanwhile, there's yet another rate that is given to BOST in terms of the exchange. So it means that for the three different sources of the the forex, there are three different rates. If you look at the export price that we always do, they factor in the forex, the exchange rate as part of it. So it is creating confusion in the industry because the industry is not too sure. Should we use the forex rate that is being given by BOST? Should we use the forex rate that is being given by the auction? Or we should use the forex rate that we go to get from our commercial bank? That's a confusion. But a third one that is very dangerous is the source of the petroleum products. You will recall that just last weekend, Bloomberg had reported that the source of this particular petroleum products is from Russia. Indeed, on February 24th, since February 24th, there has been a ship that is hovering on our waters because the source of the product is Russia. And Russia currently is on economic, embargo with us. So the question you then ask yourself, some of the OMCs like Total, Shell, these are Western countries who have been given explicit instructions not to do anything with Russia. And therefore, even in terms of their product, you can't commingle their products as long as the product is coming from that. Two, the general stance of government of Ghana and the state Ghana since independence up to now has been one of non-alliance. It's one of non-alliance that we do not belong to the West, we do not belong to the East, we do not align. By the very action of government now, what is our foreign policy? What is the implications of this on our negotiations on the IMF? And last but not the least, where our challenge seriously is on the fact that as we speak now, government has not even told us whether the program is on or not, because the understanding we are getting is that they have run into difficulties. It is not a sustainable one. The BDCs are being crowded out. You recall that, in fact, the very reason why we deregulated the downstream sector in July 2015 was because of the fact that anytime government got itself involved in the dealing with importing the products and bringing them and setting up prices, what it did was that it incurred a lot of debt for us. And therefore, government always owed the BDCs, and therefore, even it almost collapsed banks. With this, the private sector is being crowded out. A government that talks about the fact that they believe in the market, what the private sector is the engine of growth, you are crowding all of those people out. Because the BDCs that are not taking part in this particular arrangement simply are left out. You are giving them, the BDCs that are taking part in this, you are giving them exchange rates that are favorable as compared to them. And therefore, they will become economically not viable because they will be competed out of the business. So these are the two issues. But the most important one is the national security concern of the source of the product. And it is something that government must come out clear. Bloomberg has reported this. They have not come out to, dispute it. And if you talk to industry players, the BDCs, they are simply uncomfortable. And this is a ticking bomb. For the moment we are unable to get products because of the gold for oil, and two, the private sector is equally not economically strong enough to be able to import, our fuel security in the country is in danger.
We just spoke, saying that we have peace and security in this country. Mr. Speaker, I wonder whether or not she has been in this country within the past 1 month. Mr. Speaker, I wonder whether or not she's aware of what is going on in Boko. Mr. Speaker, I wonder whether or not she's aware of what is going on at Ashama. Mr. Speaker, I wonder whether or not she's aware of what is going on in Wa. Mr. Speaker, all is not well with this country. Mr. Speaker, the state of Ghana is that of utter shock and disbelief. Mr. Speaker, in the State of the Nation address delivered by His Excellency the President on page 3, the last paragraph, he stated that he was going to talk about health and infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, conspicuously missing was Agenda 111. Mr. Speaker, and I am not surprised that he didn't talk about Agenda 111 in detail because all is not well with the Agenda 111. Mr. Speaker, at the 8th COVID-19 update delivered by the President, he promised the good people of this country about the construction of health facilities in this country. Mr. Speaker, the project was delayed and they commenced the project somewhere in August 2021. Mr. Speaker, during the sword cutting ceremony, Mr. President had this to say, and with your permission, I quote the President. Mr. Speaker, he said, and I quote, each hospital is being constructed at a cost of 16.88 million, i.e. 12.88 million for construction and 4 million for medical equipment. And all the hospitals are to be completed in 8 months, and works will begin on the regional and other hospitals in the later part of 2021. Mr. Speaker, this is what the President said when he was cutting sword for the commencement of Agenda 111. Mr. Speaker, again, during the 28th update, the President changed his position. And with your permission, I want to quote again. This is what he said. The President said, work is currently underway, and therefore the end of my tenure of office on 7th January 2025, all 111 hospitals would have been commissioned. Mr. Speaker, this position was affirmed in last year's State of the Nation address, that before the President has over on the 7th January 2025, all the 111 hospitals would have been delivered. Mr. Speaker, when the President speaks, he must be speaking the truth, nothing but the truth, Mr. Speaker. As far as Ghana is concerned, with our President, when he speaks, we don't know whether or not he's speaking the truth. Mr. Speaker, this statement turned out to be false. untrue. And I say so because, Mr. Speaker, the Agenda 11 Secretariat made a presentation to the Parliamentary Select Committee on Health, and they were led by the Chief Director of the Presidency. Mr. Speaker, at the meeting, this is the forecast they gave to the committee. The Speaker, don't forget that Mr. President is saying that he will deliver all the 111 hospitals before he leaves office. The Speaker, at the committee level, this is what they had to say. The Speaker, they said that it's completion forecast. They needed $300 million to be able to complete 20% of the project in 2024. 20%. 20%, the Speaker. The Speaker, again, 20%. Mr. Speaker, the last bullet point, they said that 20% of the hospitals could be completed in 2025. Could. The Speaker, the next one, I said 30% of the hospitals could be completed by 2027. Mr. Speaker, again, he said 30% of the hospitals could be completed after 2027 when Mr. President is no longer the President of the Republic of Ghana. Why would you say you will deliver all the 111 hospitals whilst it is not true? Mr. Speaker, the real state of the Agenda 111 is that millions of dollars have been given to contractors and yet they are not on site. Millions of dollars, Mr. Speaker. Millions of dollars. Mr. Speaker, I'll give you examples. If you go to a place like Akpofom in the Akpofom district, about $839 million has been given to the contractor, yet the contractor was not at the site at our last visit, the committee's last visit. The Speaker, again, also in the Upper West Akim, about $1,078,000 had been given to the contractor, and yet the contractor was not at site. Side US dollars, Mr. Speaker. Not even declared. Mr. Speaker, again, at Pabrakwa in Obuasi East District, about $1,078,000 has been given to the contractor, and yet the contractor is not on site, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Jessica is no exception. So this is the clear state of the nation, where millions of dollars have been given to contractors and individuals, and yet no work is being done. This is a fact, and nobody can contest it, Mr. Speaker. This goes to the waste and the corruption we have been talking about all this while. Mr. Speaker, let me move on to another very sensitive issue. Mr. Speaker, in this day and age, one would have expected that we should not be talking about outbreak of measles on this floor of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, measles and tuberculosis, polio are not like COVID, which we just discovered. Mr. Speaker, we started fighting these diseases as far back in 1977. Mr. Speaker, especially with the introduction of the expanded program on immunization introduced by the World Bank. Mr. Speaker, as recent as October 2022, we had outbreak of measles in Karaga, in Ushegu, in Tamale, and its environs. This is smart of incompetence and lack of forward planning, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we sit in this house and we approve the National Health Insurance Formula every year. In the National Health Insurance Formula, we make provisions for the procurement of these vaccines. Mr. Speaker, we realize that these releases have been done, and yet we don't have vaccines in this country. Mr. Speaker, it will interest you to know that we have not less than 10 vaccines, and most of these vaccines are being sponsored by Gavi. And we are supposed to sponsor only 3, 100%. Mr. Speaker, and only 3, we cannot buy the 3. If we are asked to buy the 13, can we buy the 13? Mr. Speaker, the president on this floor of the House said that we had recorded no death. The minister also repeated on this floor that no death has been recorded. Mr. Speaker, that is again palpable falsehood. Mr. Speaker, according to the Northern Regional Pediatrician at Tamale Teaching Hospital, Professor Mumin Al-Hassan, the speaker, he says that we have reported about 5 fatalities. And what is even worse is that, the speaker, we cannot even get reagents to confirm tests at Noguchi.
On the Health Committee of Parliament. Earlier was Edward Bauer, Member of Parliament for Bongo. Both MPs were actually raising concerns on some key aspects of the economy in Parliament. And that's it for tonight's edition of Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. My name is Larte. The show was produced by Beverly London and Kobina Wilson, with technical support coming in from Daniel Squashi. Many thanks indeed for your company. Eyewitness News returns tomorrow at exactly 5:30 p.m. Have a good night.